Good evening, Baller Nation. It's your boys, the Shotcallers, back with another podcast episode. The date is September 23rd, 2019. And as always, we are back to talk basketball. In front of me, directly in front of me, I got my boy, Richard Bustos.
What's up? 29 days till tip-off.
And at the end of the table, I got my boy, Andre West. No nicknames today, guys. We're just
No nicknames.
Go with,
I'm good with that. I'm good with it. What's up, y'all?
I ran out of. I ran through my Google searches.
We got nicknames. We got nicknames coming up later.
The nickname generator. Let's go.
And we are glad to be back. Again, like I said, to talk some basketball. We enjoy being here with you guys. Appreciate y'all listening. If you guys don't already follow us on Twitter, make sure to follow us at Shotcallers Show. On Instagram, _Shotcallers. If you'd like to send us a message, you can send us a message to shotcallarshow@gmail.com. And as always, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, the Shotcallers. And you can also listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, all of those popular podcasts.
Stitcher, Podcast One, Radio.com,
YouTube.
Breaker, YouTube.
You name it, we're on it.
Everything.
If we're not, let us know. If you have a preferred method that's just not on this list that we just talked about, let us know, and we will make sure to get on that. We want to make sure that you can find us on your preferred station. But as always,
make it to SoundCloud at some point.
SoundCloud, isn't that just for like dropping?
Wait, I listen to some
mixtapes?
Podcasts on there.
There's podcasts. I thought it was just like mixtapes, cloud chasing on Twitter.
Hey.
But we're gonna kick off this week's episode talking about something that came up in the news this last week, and that is the new tampering rules. Rich, you want to dive into that for us?
Yeah, it was kind of ripe for speculation because to pass any sort of like addendum or addition to the collective bargaining agreement or the rules that run the league up until the next collective bargaining agreement, the owners or the board of governors has to vote with a overwhelming majority of 23 out of 30 to make any significant changes. Mm-hmm. And so with this season's NBA trade deadline or NBA free agency deadline sort of being like scoffed at with like
Durant, the amount of amount of trades that the amount of signings that came like within hours.
Well,
instantly,
not like, even that one. The ones
like
that
the players
they were coming
talking
before.
Before the
during the playoffs.
Kevin Durant, announced his stuff on Instagram before the deadline, or at least the Instagram post was out. You know what I mean? Like in 2016, Al-Farouq Aminu signed a multi-year contract with the Portland Trail Blazers 1 minute into the free agency period. This is just going further and further back. So like what I guess they wanted to stem the tide and make it so that things weren't happening like the week before.
I need to bring these guys
doing all the work.
I need to bring these guys to the dealership next time I'm trying to buy a car. We're gonna get it done in a minute. Just go ahead and get the work.
It's pretty crazy. And so
tamper
with the dealers.
Tamper with the dealers, man. Let me get that.
With the amount of teams that benefited from stuff like this, the Lakers, the Clippers, other teams, the Brooklyn Nets, of course, you would think that 7 or 8 teams that are in the running for these top players would be like, we like it the way it is. You know what I mean? But it passed with an overwhelming 30 out of 30 majority unanimous, giving the commissioner even more power to look into communications at random intervals throughout the league. I believe it's 5 teams per year at random times.
Mm-hmm.
Where they can look at the top, I guess, negotiators, the general managers, presidents of basketball operations,
basically the whole front office,
and look through their communications via text, via email,
all that stuff,
at their discretion, especially after like an explosive incident like Magic Johnson pining for Paul George on TV, stuff like that. So
not even just that, just Doc Rivers praising Kawhi and then getting fined for it retroactively.
That one, what's funny about that one is, I mean, I see how it's tampering, but like I feel like there's been even more blatant things than that. And
I think that
trouble. That's what I was gonna ask. Like, so with us knowing that KD, announced it before the moratorium was over, like, where's the accountability there?
Well, I think part of that was Doc Rivers and not even Doc Rivers, just the Clippers. Organization sending people to Raptors games,
that's fine. I mean, I get that. What I'm talking about is Richard talked about how Kevin Durant was talking about it before the moratorium was even over.
Right.
Where's the accountability with those people? Like
the
with
players.
Kevin Durant.
Well, so what I was actually going to get to that.
I mean, and I know there's speculation that we didn't even know, and maybe that's why they said that they didn't know, because they didn't want to get in trouble.
They can deny everything.
That's smart.
Plausible deniability.
I didn't even
think all the
that.
players. We can't control them, right?
Yeah.
So what's y'all's initial reaction? What do you think might change going forward based on this ruling, or do you think it's going to make any kind of difference whatsoever? What do you guys think?
I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I mean, like, there's going to be players using burners for what it's worth.
Well, we're not talking about the players. They aren't.
The players
And the
The players
organization
can talk to whoever. The players can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like once they're free agents, like once their year is up, they can say whatever they want on Instagram, on all that. The only problem is when a team communicates with them
Yeah. So
and is already talking numbers. Like Kevin Durant or whoever can come out and say, I want to go to the Bobcats or whatever. There's no problem with that. The problem is the team saying, hey,
come to
we'll
us,
give you the
we'll do
max.
this,
We'll do
that.
this many, blah, blah, blah. We're bringing this guy, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, and one other addition that I didn't mention was giving the players incentives outside of the collective bargaining agreement.
Space Jam money?
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up too.
In terms of like businesses that the team owns outside of basketball.
Oh,
or
like
whatever.
the logo, right? Like the logo thing?
apartments for rent at a very cheap rate, free food, things like that.
Yeah, so that's another.
Well, I mean, that's definitely in
element
the
to it.
gray area, right? I mean, obviously, it's not allowed. Well,
It's not allowed officially.
Well, I was
but
saying
how,
team owned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
Yeah.
saying.
well, isn't it kind of like? I mean, I think every league does this because, like, they can, for instance, the NFL. If a guy's not signed, they can use your jet, but you can't pay for their ticket, like on a commercial airline.
Right.
It's weird stuff like that. So it's like gray area. I can bring you on my private jet to my city or to wherever you want to go.
but I can't buy you a
But I
ticket
can't
to
buy
take
you a
somewhere.
ticket. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there's
So
like
that-
a sign up sheet where you
Yeah.
gotta sign up and take the private jet.
Yeah, I guess so. But to Andre's point, I don't think it's gonna make a difference. I think they will make an example of somebody to kind of
That's
make
what I
it
was
seem
gonna
like,
say.
Someone to be a scapegoat. Who do you
and
think?
it's gonna be like
It's gonna be the Lakers.
Yeah.
not even that. It's actually what I was thinking.
Magic still talking.
Is it's gonna be like let me think of a random name. It's gonna be like
Charlotte.
Sabonis got contacted by the Pelicans or some other franchise that's like not top. That's not a big market.
Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was gonna go into next. Is I don't think it affects outside of the top 15 like players or whatever. It's only the biggest names that people care about.
Yeah.
Are the Charlotte Hornets going to be so angry that they send a letter up to the league that the Indiana Pacers went and got Thomas Satoransky at the end of this next deal that they were
No,
dealing
because
with
they just
the-
gave Terry Rozier
right,
$70 million, so they're not
I'm-
gonna be mad about
yeah,
nothing.
but besides crapping on them again, in that example, do you think that people care
No,
about
I
that?
don't
Do you
think
think that the teams are going to say this is horrible? No,
I
No.
don't think the teams care because that's not the
the premier crop of the league.
Well, not even that. That's not the determining factor. That's not the reason why they're not getting these guys. Oh, because they talked to them first is why so and so went to
Exactly.
LA or New York. No, it's because they wanted to go to LA, Miami, or
No, what I'm talking about in that example, examples like that. Besides the stars that want to go to New
Oh,
York,
okay.
Miami,
I
I'm
don't
saying
think so. I mean, I think
players 50 through 4.
Well, I remember you mentioning
450.
earlier this year that there are some teams that actually followed the rules, right?
And they're like, "What? Everyone else is? How is everyone already ready
Stop
to
talking
sign
about the
these
Hornets,
players?"
man.
So-
Stop talking about the
so-
I thought we
Hornets.
started on July
I'm
4th.
gonna make the steroids argument, and if you're confused about what I'm saying, this is what it
Lance
is.
Armstrong.
Not even that. I'm talking about baseball. Just let them all use it. It doesn't matter. It's the steroids are
Everyone
illegal.
tamper. Just
Steroid-
go ham.
Exactly. Steroids are against the rules. Just give them all steroids. That way it's all even playing.
But at some
Let
point,
them all
that becomes
tamper.
a big
We
distraction.
talked about this like for the last 5 years. The moratorium is stupid.
Well, that is definitely something that people have been saying that they should just let people tamper all day long and players are going to go where they want to go.
Yeah.
But
Moratorium is dumb.
Well, then everyone's just gonna end up in the big cities, like they kind of do
They still
right
gotta-
now.
they still
Anyway,
gotta work they still
Yeah.
got to work the salary cap.
yeah, but
that'll happen if the teams
Yeah.
want it to happen.
Yeah.
But there was going to be another change. It seems small, but I think there will be a small effect in that, players that or organizations that would text other organizations during the for one team's off season, the Clippers or the Grizzlies or the Nets, if they had missed the postseason or they only get through one round and they want to start their talkings earlier while the finals are still going on, instead of just texting all day long, they'll say, hey, call me. And it'll just be a phone call instead of a text message that the commissioner can read through. Or
Right.
they'll go to Las Vegas and meet in those.
just go to a payphone where you can't be traced.
So in that sense, right, where you start having that be the back door, I guess, to it, where does the legality come in with like recording people and they don't know? So like,
well, I think
let's say I call you and I'm the player and I'm like, yeah, I want to come to you guys, and then they're like, hey, we really shouldn't talk, and he's like, don't worry, like nobody's gonna know. Is there
Like
a
a
chance?
sting?
Well, I think since you're an employee,
You never know. There's audits for everything.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think there's rules in place for things like that. Since everyone's part of the league and the association,
Yeah.
they probably agree that like even in
And
that
they
case
just
where
use-
it's just like between them,
Yeah.
like the league, they're gonna supersede that. They're gonna be like, all right, you gotta hand over whatever you have, like
Yeah.
whatever evidence you have that this conversation.
It's
took
like you
place.
said though, they could just like get burner phones. 'Cause
Yeah.
Who's like if I just started texting you now and I pretended I was LeBron and you were Jerry
Anthony
West,
Davis.
right?
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Because they could talk to each other, or they can't tamper either. You're right.
Right.
But let's say you're Jerry West and you're like LeBron, come play with Kawhi and Paul George next year or whatever. I could pretend I'm that, and then they don't have no way of knowing if that's really their numbers or somebody else's numbers.
Yeah. There's some guy pretending to be Jerry
Yeah,
West.
exactly. They find these numbers or these text messages, but that's not my phone number.
I don't know.
It's so stupid. Is what I'm saying. It's not gonna make a difference.
I think
because
this
how
is just
can
a show.
How can you possibly police that?
Well, it is a show because it looks terrible during the season to other leagues and to
Yeah.
fans. That
It'd just be easier if you got rid of the moratorium.
and it's not like you can't enforce it. So
And I know it's not gonna solve the whole problem because you could talk during the season, but like, I don't know. Just let everybody tamper.
just let them tamper in the open. No, I think at least for appearance's sake, you have to do something, right?
Yeah, you got to do it because it looks messy. It looks bad.
I just wonder if they're going to try to make an example of, with, $10 million fine here or there. This coming off season, there's not going to be a loaded free agent class. But the next one, 2021, is the one where Giannis is there and all these other guys.
Mhm.
I wonder if Adam Silver is going to really, like you were saying, make an example of somebody because he could take away draft picks, and that's what the teams care about.
Yeah,
A
they
better
say they're
punish-
raising the
you know what a
fines and
better
stuff, too.
You know what a better punishment would be?
Better than draft picks?
Yes, hard cap.
That would never happen. Like they'd have
it's
to,
worse, right?
they'd have to agree.
Damn.
but you
You
can't.
gotta
You
play
hard, not,
ball.
not the
You can't
league,
just
not the
do
league,
that.
not the league. You hard cap the team.
Yeah,
that
that would
but
suck.
But they would never. They'd have to agree to that in the collective bargaining agreement.
Well, yeah,
as
yeah.
one of the punishments.
But what
or
I'm saying
whatever.
is, if that were a punishment for that year, let's say you were just caught tampering, you're hard capped for this year.
What if they just say, "I'll pay you on the table. I'll just tamper harder." I'm circumvent. I'm already got caught. I might as well keep going.
At some point, you're not making money.
Yeah.
At some point, you're not making
That's
money,
true.
regardless of how many.
well, the revenue sharing, but you're taking away from all the other owners, and they'd vote you out like in an instant.
Yeah.
But we're getting really far down the rabbit hole here.
Yeah, we don't need to.
We don't think it's
super
going to be
analyze,
like
yeah.
super crazy changes, but I think it'll change some minute details.
I hope it doesn't
on the way.
change much because it's fun. It's fun to
I
see
like the
it.
tamper.
Yeah, you see all the parodies about it. It's pretty
Well,
hilarious.
I do appreciate getting all the news like in quick bursts, like right there.
Imagine
So.
if we couldn't. Yeah, like that night was amazing. That day, the next day was great. Imagine if they take that away from us, Richard. We got to wait for negotiations.
It's like second
Imagine
4th
if-
of July.
Because realistically,
Bam.
those negotiations take like a week or two, the way
Mhm.
Kawhi's did, right? And I mean, obviously now we know that he was waiting for that other piece. But realistically, if they've been talking with these guys for weeks, the moratorium wouldn't. If they get rid of the moratorium, I guess it's not a big deal because now you're not waiting for that shit.
Right.
But imagine waiting for that clock to run out and nothing happens.
I mean,
They should just
I don't know.
end the memoriam right after the final, or start it right
There
at the end
should
of the
be one,
fourth.
there should be one.
so,
Yeah.
so Kawhi could theoretically win the championship and,
And
the
be
next
on the
day
phone
say,
on the way
I'm on
home,
the-
calling the Clippers.
going straight to the Clippers,
Isn't that,
baby.
isn't that how every other job works? If you put your 2 weeks in 14 days, you don't even have to wait 14 days in real world, right? But in 14 days, like you realistically can go work somewhere else. You
Yeah.
can go work there the very next day. And
I don't know
that
what the
happens.
duration is for like exit interviews and stuff like that, but as soon as that's done, just end it there. Let them get going. Let
I
them.
think
have
as soon
at it.
as the season's
Yeah,
over,
yeah.
I mean, when they sure as hell kick you out whenever they trade you. Like you get traded,
That's
get out,
true.
get your stuff.
It's a business, dog.
Exactly. So it should work both ways.
Let them get theirs.
It'll be fun to see. I hope that free agency frenzy doesn't go away.
I
I mean,
don't know.
it's gonna be slow this year anyway.
The frenzy's cool. The trade deadline going crazy is cool, but I'm wondering if it'd be cool to have news go out throughout the whole summer instead of just blowing your load like in one day.
Yeah, now
You
we're
know?
just like,
And then you just have this
well,
month where
the
there's
Nets
nothing happening.
court sure
I've
is
had a
cool.
good experience both
until the draft.
Both-
The highest highs.
All right, so
Uh,
I guess we've blown the
Rich,
load.
that's gonna be the
that segment.
analogy of the summer, dog.
Load blown.
You just blow your load.
Premature.
Take it nice and slow.
Okay.
Oh my god.
We did have I guess let's move on to the news. Not a lot of going on, but the Magic had something coming out of their camp. Andre, do you want to talk about that?
The Magic. Actually, I wanted to talk about. Let's go to the Heat first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the Heat. What's going on
Yeah.
with the
Heat and OKC. So the Heat have expressed interest in acquiring Chris Paul.
again?
Yes.
Well, there was rumors.
Yeah, there was rumors, but now
early
they've
on
come
in
out. OKC still kind of wants him to report for training camp. And I think it's interesting on the Heat's part because they kind of have, like, even outside of Chris Paul, they got 3 guys kind of vying for that point guard spot between Jimmy Butler, who's expressed an interest in saying, hey, I want to play point. Then you got Justice Winslow, who also came out and said, hey, I want to be the starting point guard. He said that a few days ago. Huh. And then you got Goran Dragic, who left Phoenix because he wanted to be point guard. Mm-hmm. So now it's like you throw Chris Paul on top of that as well. It's like you got 3-4 guys who want to play point guard.
None of those guys would be part of the trade, I'm assuming. Then.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
So Dragic maybe.
Yeah,
that would make
22.
sense. That one would make sense because it's an expiring contract. So it's like, go ahead and do it.
That'd be a good piece.
Yeah, Dragic had an all-star season, the last healthy season he had before this past year. I would imagine he'd be in a trade package for Chris Paul if they were going to buy him out or whatever. Yeah. And to answer your question, if we're talking about hypothetical like on-court fit, I think they would have Justice Winslow continue to develop in the point guard role or maybe be the backup point guard behind Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. And then Chris Paul's good playing off the ball. We saw that with James Harden in Houston. They could have Jimmy, take the reins during the final 5 minutes of the game. He's a clutch player, can create for himself. And then it's not a bad thing to, if he gets bottled up, pass it out to Justice Winslow or Chris Paul, who can shoot from the mid-range from the 3 and create for themselves. Isn't that what we want? People that can pass, shoot,
create,
dribble, pass, and shoot. It sounds like super simple, but that's what you want.
It's like when you say shooting makes up for size sometimes. Like, you want to score.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good trade as long as you get Dragic out of there in the logjam, or one person goes out of there. You would imagine that the Thunder would try to get Justice Winslow, though, on the younger side.
Yeah.
They're not super worried about having long-term contracts on their books if they're going to be in rebuilding mode, trading Chris Paul away. So, that'll be interesting to
So, both
see.
of those contracts are pretty short, right? Dragic and Justice.
Well, Justice is still on his rookie deal, right?
No,
he signed an extension.
He signed the extension, yeah. So, that's what you're saying. The Justice Winslow trade would make them have like him on the books for another 3 years after next year,
as opposed to expiring.
That makes sense.
So, what do y'all think?
Shit, why not?
Good move for Miami.
Yeah, it's a good move for both sides. I feel like
it would
if
give
they're
them
rebuilding. They might as well get rid of that. That contract is terrible for a team that's rebuilding. Like, you got to get rid of it. And I don't think they want to do the buyout, or maybe Chris Paul doesn't want to do the buyout.
Yeah. For reasons we discussed on previous episodes.
And if the Heat want him. Hey,
it'd give them
get a pick and Dragic.
It would give them a competitive team in the Eastern Conference, and they'd give them a pairing of players that are all-stars or stars. So to get them in the conversation with these other players and get Miami fans excited.
They'd definitely be a playoff team, and we'd be talking about them possibly upsetting one of those top 4 in the first round. So it's a win-win.
Yeah,
I had no idea that was the thing.
Well, it's just a rumor. So
still
another one. Yeah,
they're still talking.
I wouldn't think they're gaining steam. I'm sure one front office executive said, "Hey, Shams, go ahead and report this. Let's get the pressure going to get this cooking, so that Chris Paul doesn't have to suit up as the Thunder."
Just in their tweets, you tweet something and suddenly everybody starts talking.
Everyone's hanging on to it. Yeah.
I've said this before, but Woj is the 31st franchise, bro. You want to me and Andre. I want to get JV in trade talks with me. I talked to Woj. Woj reports that trade talks are happening, and JV's got to call me now.
He's only picking up the phone and saying, "What the hell is this?
What's all this going on?" Like, what is this?
Other teams are calling, trying to get. I'll beat the offer. It's whatever.
Funny. That's funny. It's like, what is this I'm hearing about trading? Well, what do you think?
Just hang up.
So
What was the second half of that? What was it? The Magic.
Yeah, so staying in Florida, a small, I guess, tidbit, because he's not going to be playing any NBA minutes this season, but Orlando Magic 16th pick, Chume Okeke, is going to sit out the season. I guess you could say he's redshirting. People that don't watch like football, it happens a lot in college football where a player will not play their entire first year. What I actually don't even
ACL injury. So
he did it. He's recovering from an injury, and it's actually going to push back his rookie scale contract. It's normally a 4-year contract with 2 team options at the end of it, which they could extend, of course, if they wanted to, if he comes out looking strong. But he gets the entire year to rehab. And the way that this gets to work is it's kind of like what the Spurs like to do. The Spurs will draft international players.
Let them stay over.
Let them stay overseas. As long as you play for another professional team that's not an NBA team, you can push the contract back a year, and he'll be eligible to sign under the new salary cap. A rookie extension.
As it expands,
So he'll be making an extra $1 million by waiting a year and being able to rehab and live the NBA life. Do you think that'd be beneficial for a rookie that's trying to?
Oh, definitely. That's more money for them.
More money for
More
them?
time to come back healthy. There's no pressure as much. I mean, you got one more year. You got to come back next year, obviously, but. I mean, you get more time to. He's not gonna be practicing with the team or anything like that.
I think he'll be on the G League team.
Yeah.
On their G League affiliate.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, that's perfect. He's making more than anyone in the G League.
Damn, are we about to have like a?
Well, he won't be making
Potentially.
anything from
Yeah,
it
potentially,
now.
but
Might be the closest thing to like a real minor league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
28
Makes
of the
sense.
30 teams have a G League affiliate. The only ones that are missing, I think, are Portland.
I don't think it gets utilized the way it should.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think they're
I
trying
think
to
that's
build
what
it
they're
up.
trying to do.
Yeah, that's
they're
what
trying
I'm
to
saying. It is the closest.
develop
Yeah,
it
that's why they
towards
sponsored
that.
it, made it the G League instead of the D League. So that's pretty cool and gets them acclimated to somewhat professional life after college.
Kind
Kind
of
of
like the whole year to realize that the G League was for Gatorade.
yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Seems beneficial for both sides.
Yeah.
Let him recover without having to answer questions. The team have to answer questions. Is he coming back this month?
Come back.
Is
You
he coming
good?
back
You
this
healthy?
month?
When are you gonna
when,
start?
like when Ben Simmons was injured and they didn't announce it that he was going to be out for the season.
Yeah.
Like, oh, after the All-Star break, he'll be back.
Perpetual speculation.
So,
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's good. Good on the Magic for giving that offer. But is that all we got for the news this time around?
Yeah, it's a little light, but we're 29 days from opening.
right around the corner. We plan on. Go ahead.
I guess we don't really want to talk about the
What?
Barkley Arena because we can't show it. Can't show it. But
I'll put a picture. I'll put a picture in the
Okay,
video.
yeah.
What's the
Put a picture
YouTube
up.
one?
Yeah,
I
I forgot. We
haven't
live in
even seen it
the
myself. I
21st
heard you guys
century.
talking about
That
it right
thing
before
is
the show.
amazing. Here, let me.
Let's get some live reactions.
yeah.
Does it look like a football arena or something?
No, you need to
What's
see
going
it.
on?
It's
It
just
looks-
like
it looks awesome.
very classy.
If you've been to New York, like when looking at this arena here, you're gonna be like, "Wow!"
Bam! Look at that. The pixel resolution.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I wish.
Describe it for
I'm
our
seeing-
listeners.
All right, you might throw it up there for them to see it, but wow,
Massachusetts.
it's real. I've always liked the Brooklyn colors. I mean, it's just simple, but damn, that gray on the free throw
Yeah, and
and
they
the
have
key.
that-
I mean,
They kept that pattern of the previous Brooklyn Nets, that herringbone kind of like wooden. Looks really great in person, and they kept it in the certain splashes of the gray here. I was wondering what the gray would look like in person, or what the gray would look like, on TV. But I think it'll really make the jerseys look really
I like
good.
the light blue on the Barclays Center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Something
And like,
really pops out. It's so
some
subtle, but it's
contrasting, so it's not like all just black and white.
and
very well done.
on the edges of the court, they have the Brooklyn logo, and then it makes it look like kind of like the subway line, kind of the
Oh,
the
Yeah, I
signs.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that does look nice. Huh?
It's a good looking court, man. Hopefully Dallas, man. Can we get it right?
Can we?
One time for me.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Isn't that court like as old as the arena?
Well, the Bark.
No, well,
Barclays
they
Center's-
had that previous court from the beginning of becoming a Brooklyn franchise.
No,
when they
no, no.
moved
I'm
from-
talking about the Mavericks. Isn't
Oh.
it the same, as old as the American Airlines Center?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would think
Oof.
so.
I
Same
mean, we got
design
a
and
dirt
everything.
that
silhouette
20 years
now, but
almost? Almost
oh
20
my
years?
god, yeah. It was like 2004,
Something like
2003.
probably before that. I think it was like right at the turn of the century.
Actually, I think you're right. Yeah.
No, that looks nice. That looks nice. I like that they're trying to it's
Change
kinda,
it
It's
up.
kind of like they're revamping
their whole brand. I
their
mean,
brand,
it's like
yeah.
a whole different team now,
Yeah.
kind of. Even though they still got some of their good boys.
I'm interested to see that team because you got Dinwiddie, LeVert,
Dinwiddie,
and let's see if Kyrie can do what he wanted to do in Boston with those young guys. Because I mean, obviously the Boston team was just as young, but for some reason when I look at Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie, I'm like, these guys look like they're more open to it. Maybe because they spend the whole season being looked at as like just this kind of underdog team that's nobody's really paying attention to. That was overperforming expectations, outperforming expectations. So I think they're ready to really be in the limelight.
Yeah.
And they want Kyrie to kind of take them to that. Because you get the names like Kyrie and Kevin Durant, you're
I
suddenly.
mean, that's like automatic contenders.
Yeah.
Even DeAndre Jordan, even though he's
So I think they'll be completely open to that. How long is DeAndre Jordan's? 3 years?
I believe so. It's 3 years,
okay.
10 million each, 30 mil.
Okay, so they
Yeah.
got at least 2 years with him because I don't think it was a player option.
Yeah.
So that'd be- Yeah, that's a nice court, man.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
and there was one more other piece of news. So I don't know. Kevin Durant's camp has said that he may come back this season.
Oh,
I thought
no.
I read that earlier
There's
this
no way,
morning.
dude.
No,
Achilles?
that some
I-
intern was foaming at the
Yeah,
mouth.
I
for
don't
that
know
one.
if I don't see that happening.
Well,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be worth the risk
It
unless
wouldn't.
unless you feel like you're just gonna make this crazy run to the finals. Like, why would you risk it?
Yeah, especially after what just happened like
Yeah.
a few months ago, him coming back. So
Yeah, somebody just got a little too excited when they got their chance to be interviewed by someone or some kind of
can't
phone
wait
call.
to push this. Yeah.
Or it'd be ridiculous. I don't foresee the Nets even being close to in the same league as Giannis and the Bucks. So I don't think unless Kevin Durant felt 100% fully healthy and thought that he could knock them off. We don't know how good Philly's going to be. I think he's going to take that full year and let everything shake out and be able to see what's going to happen next season at a full run. He's just going to absorb Kyrie and the young guys, basically.
Yeah.
And do a LeBron thing.
Hello, man. I don't think KD's one to miss a chance to be the savior.
He's like, oh, y'all need me? I'm coming.
Exactly.
Put his cape on.
You never know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
It'd be a stupid move, but yeah. Cool. So this week, Rich came up with something he liked to call.
Oh no, it's not that one.
It's not that one.
We're just gonna do the nickname. Remember last week?
Game?
Last week we were talking about bringing the nickname.
Yeah,
back?
the nickname game.
Yeah, the nickname.
Yeah.
Game back. I didn't have a name for the segment, but yeah. So I've got some nicknames for about 5 players. Some of them might be well known. Some of them might not be. We're gonna kind of just test y'all's.
Are these
geez.
you looked these up or you created these?
No, I looked them up. No, yeah. So you would have
like
you would have heard him at some point.
You would have heard him at some point. Maybe
Ding Dingus.
if
Who's that? Like,
no, it's not something that I just made up. And so
Can we take turns instead of trying to beat each other?
yeah.
Sometimes
Let's just alternate who goes
I
first.
need a moment to think about it.
Okay, so
I'll defer if I just have no idea.
we will. I ask Andre, and then if he gets it wrong, you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
and then
so
we switch.
one of them's pretty. These should be a little bit tricky. We're gonna test the peripherals of your NBA knowledge.
Oh, shit.
Goes back as far as the. Oh, they're all pretty recent. They're all since 2000. Everyone played in the 2000s.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So the first one, you might remember this if you remember.
Is this Andre first?
We'll go ahead and go with Andre's gonna get this one. I'm pretty positive. So this one's just named Coltrane. And if you need a hint, you can let me know. So Coltrane.
Coltrane.
Yeah, I kind of got this this idea from Gears of War. Was coming out the other day. Remember Coltrane in Gears of War?
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy.
I know who he played for, but I could not think of his first name.
Coltrane, a teammate of.
I know. Don't tell him.
Oh,
Let him figure this out.
Right,
No. Is it?
I'll give you one hint before you move it to
Give me
Jamie.
one hint.
Okay, so
Just give him a hint. I know who he played for. I still can't think of the first name.
played on the Miami Heat.
Yes, I know he played on the Heat. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name?
5.
Not
4.
Jose Calderon.
Huh? No.
No.
On the
No.
Heat, bro. Jose Calderon. 3, 2, 1.
I defer.
Okay, so he had like a flat top.
Yeah.
And his first name, I want to say, started with an N.
Yep. It's Norris Cole.
Norris Cole.
Norris
There
Cole.
you go.
So nobody gets the point.
Oh
on this
my
one.
goodness, I thought about it the whole time, and I was like, oh, why? What's the name? But I knew who he was talking about.
Okay, so
All right,
one
Norris
for JV.
Cole.
All right, so
I'll
that's
take that.
Norris Cole.
1 out.
Comes back to me
2,
now.
3, 4,
Right?
5, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 5 more to go through.
All right, go.
And I guess I'll get another one if we need to break a tie. So this one's pretty simple. It should just flow if you make sense of the name. So this guy's name is McBob. That's his nickname, McBob.
What?
This guy was a Dallas Maverick. He was a Charlotte Bobcat. He was a member of the Miami Heat. He was on like half the teams in the league, man. McBob. McBob. Think of what a short for Richard is Dick. A short for William is Bill.
McRobertson?
McRobertson?
Yeah. What you got? Our listeners are going crazy right now.
Oh man, you think
All
they
right.
got it?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chance to steal, Andre.
I can't. Viewers who
Is it
man?
McBucket?
It's Josh McRoberts.
Oh,
The guy with the red hair. He's a famous Republican.
Oh wow.
Anyway, so Josh McRoberts,
Viewers didn't get that one either, man.
No, they got
Google,
it,
y'all
man.
can't. No, they're using Google and Siri.
Dude, he was on the Mavericks. He was on the Hornets. He was on the Bobcats. He was on the Heat. He was
Well,
everywhere.
like if you was on
Washington
every
Wizards.
team, I'm like, no.
Anyway, okay. So, all right, we're back to Andre on this one. So you guys are at 0.
I got one. He
2-0.
gave me that first one.
Yeah.
Andre said I get that first one.
Okay.
Wait, what?
You
When did I say that?
You said JV gets that one. We can
No,
play-
I said you get to
we can
get
play
to
that
answer
back.
the question.
We can play that back.
Oh.
So remember,
All right, 0-0.
you get your guess here, and if you get it wrong, it goes to the other person.
Okay.
All right. So this one's the nickname for here is Logo.
Oh, Jerry West.
That's wrong.
What?
Who you got? That's the logo.
What?
Logo?
Whack.
Do I get a hint on this one?
I don't think you need a hint.
I don't need a hint. Oh, Logo Lillard.
Yeah, you got it. What? So one for JV. Sorry.
Yeah, Logo
Lillard.
I said they played.
I've never even heard that.
I said they played in the
Yeah,
2000s.
it just popped in my head.
Yeah, I've said it on this podcast.
Yeah.
I said Logo Lillard shooting from the
She's from the
logo.
logo.
I've
Oh
said it.
no, man!
Come on, man.
I don't like that one.
I said from the 2000s. On top of that, you said Jerry West.
Yeah, I know. I was like, when he said
Yeah,
Jerry
you're
West, I
right.
was like, can't be Jerry West. He said 2000.
Logo Lillard.
So we're going to JV here. All right. Don't worry. I don't think.
You don't think I'll get this one?
I don't think you're gonna get this one.
What if I do?
It's pretty simple. Kind of like the McBob.
I don't think you're getting
the
it.
McBob one.
It's really simple, but not you. You ain't getting this one.
Damn. Rich.
This guy's nickname is Garbo.
Oh, Garbo. Garbo.
That's
I
shit.
feel like somebody
Let
called
me know if
him
you want.
I
your
get that one applies to a lot of players.
Garbo. Team? Did I get anything?
Yeah, I'll give you kind of a double hint. He played for the Toronto Raptors. Famous fan of the Toronto Raptors, Tass Mellis, would wear this gentleman's jersey
Oh,
and tuck
that's
his
easy.
jersey into his pants.
Oh, no. Garbo?
5,
Is
He
it
plays
Kyle Lowry?
4. No, no, it's not.
But he was like the other half of the trash bros, but he's not trash.
I guess that's kind of fair, but
Yeah.
you want to, but it's not it. You're wrong. do you want to give it a shot, Andre?
Garbo.
Yeah,
Like, what are these nicknames, man?
it's a
Where did
real
you
nickname.
get these?
It's a real nickname.
When I did this, I gave you good ones.
No.
All right.
When did you do this?
We did this last season.
Anyway.
Yeah, we did it last season.
So we're in preseason form right now, guys.
Garbo?
Yeah, Garbo.
Damn.
Garbo. He plays for them now.
He played for them. He's
Oh.
retired now.
2000s.
Since the 2000s, yeah. Garbo is in his last name.
Damn.
You got anything? You got 5 seconds. 5.
Something Garbanzo
4.
beef. I don't know.
No, man, it's Jorge Garbajosa
Oh, my God.
for the Raptors. 3-point shooter.
That
handled
is
the
not
ball.
simple.
Yeah, I mean, we just gotta go back. I said
Viewers, let me know how many y'all got.
I said
I know.
I said we're gonna test the peripherals of your
That's
basketball
true.
knowledge.
That's true.
here.
All right, we got 2 left?
All right, we got 3 actually.
3 left.
Okay.
All right, so
I gotta get
we're
on
on
board,
Andre
man.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andre.
Come
All
on,
right,
man.
who is the Red Mamba?
The red
The
mamba?
Red Mamba.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
I know who it is.
Fuck.
I got this if you don't get it.
I'm embarrassed.
I am embarrassed. The red
You got a countdown somewhere? Because I got this.
Hang
It's
on.
right here.
It's here.
He gets a hint if you want one.
Give me a hint.
All right, so the Red Mamba
Let's give him a team.
is San Antonio Spurs.
Tell him who he won a title with and see if he even gets it then.
The Red Mamba.
He won the title with the Celtics.
Had red hair. Oh, you might be. I don't know.
I'm gonna be
No.
very
He
mad.
won.
Five,
Yeah, he won a title.
4, 3,
with San Antonio.
2.
I'm gonna be pissed. Like I
1.
missed this.
All right, that's it. You get to.
If
you
I'm
get to-
wrong
you
now,
get to
if
steal.
I'm wrong,
yeah, we'll see.
it's Brian Scalabrine.
No, it's not.
No?
no. I mean, I get what you mean on that one, but no, it's Matt Bonner, the Red Mamba.
Oh yeah.
I know what you mean by
Yeah.
Brian Scalabrine. He did win a title with the Celtics, and he was the human victory cigar.
Okay.
But Brian Scalabrine was the white
Mamba.
because he's so white.
Damn.
Yeah, you almost had it, man.
Almost had it.
Dang. So it's still 0-0.
Matt Bonner. Yeah, that would have
Jesus.
been the other one I would have thought
Jesus
of.
Christ.
Ginger.
You know I missed that.
All right, so that was Andre's. Now we got JB's. I feel like I'm giving y'all the one that the other one would get.
Yeah.
So, who was Maple Jordan?
Man,
Maple Jordan.
Maple Jordan.
I know this.
Oh,
Andre's
is
gonna
that-
get this one if you lose?
2000s.
Maple Jordan. Yes, he plays in the league now.
Yeah, I figured. Maple
He's
Jordan.
Canadian.
What?
Maple
That
Jordan.
just threw me off. The fact that you
Well, the
said-
Maple Leaves.
Yeah, the fact that you said he's Canadian threw me off.
Start the
hyped.
clock.
Yeah, all right.
Super what?
Super hyped coming into the league.
Man, how many hints you gonna give him, dude?
I'm trying to get somebody on the board.
I'm trying to get on the board. Get him out of here.
If he was- I think I know what you're talking
Four,
about. It'd have to be Vince Carter. then.
No,
Get
it's
outta
not.
here. Andrew Wiggins.
But that's fair. It is Andrew Wiggins. Yes. That's actually pretty fair. Maple Jordan, I can see why somebody thought that.
from like
Well,
Florida,
but he
right?
played in
Yeah,
Toronto.
that's what
and
threw me
people were
off.
like
though.
he's the next
That's- when
Jordan.
he
I
said-
thought I figured
as soon
you
as,
would say that.
As soon as
yeah.
he was said born in Canada, it threw me off completely. And I was
and
just
if-
not even thinking about.
And if I would have said
Canadians.
playing now, that would still would have fit with Vince Carter
Yeah,
because that man is
yeah,
still
yeah.
playing.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, here's our last one. I guess
It goes to
So,
Andre.
It does go to Andre.
How does he get the last one?
Because that's how we were doing. You let him steal.
You give
gotta-
an odd number.
all you got to do is get one right. No, there were 6 of these.
Then why is it his turn? No, it's my turn then.
2, 3, 4.
Let him go first.
There are 7.
No, let him go first.
How about first one to get it just wins?
All right,
Okay.
Okay. So it's like screw the score. Last shot wins. You guys
I'm not gonna know this
should
shit.
get this one. This guy was a Dallas Maverick at one point.
Dirk Nowitzki. No.
This guy's nickname is Candyman, and I'll give you a hint. His nickname was Candyman, much for a reason that is similar to current Laker Dwight Howard. This Candyman is not Dwight Howard though. So go ahead and take your guess. I can give you guys another hint too, because this is
What the hell's that Dwight Howard thing?
Well, Dwight Howard used to buy a whole bunch of sweets and stock them in his house.
And eat
He had
them
like
like
a candy
crazy.
room.
Yeah, okay.
Give me another hint, because I think I know.
Candyman. He left the league unceremoniously.
Lamar Odom.
It's Lamar Odom. You're right. Candyman. He had a candy addiction.
I remember. I was
okay.
like, damn, it was on the
Yeah.
cusp of my mind. But I was
Him
like,
and
give me
Dwight
one
Howard
more.
both did.
One more hint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Man, so crazy.
Wow.
Great job, guys. Looking forward to the next one.
Good job, Andre. Oh my gosh.
Andre wins
Dude,
this
it's
season.
funny how close I was on the field.
Yeah,
You
Cole.
were.
Well, yeah, we got Norris Cole, so 2-1. Yeah, you had Norris Cole.
I got more than Norris Cole.
Oh, you got Logo Lillard.
Yeah,
It was 1-1.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so that's that.
Technically, I won.
Wait, what? Hell no.
All right. So anyway, do y'all want to go ahead and answer our listener mail?
Oh yeah.
Let's go for it.
So before we answer listener mail, we want to shout out the people that retweeted
Oh,
our
yeah.
last tweet. We did put out a little contest just to help us grow the show. We appreciate everyone's efforts interacting with us on Twitter, sending in questions. We had 3 people tweet this week and retweet our episode tweet to help us grow the following.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
really appreciate these guys.
Probably the number one way to kind of spread our name is through our Twitter.
Social
Yeah.
media accounts, yeah.
Social media accounts for sure. So if you just hit that, it's quick, right? Hit
Hit
that
the
retweet
like,
button.
retweet.
I
That's
really
all we
appreciate
ask,
a
man.
few people put a comment in there. So
Mhm.
I appreciate you quoting the retweet and putting in your own comments. But who retweeted us this week, Rich?
We had DJ Williams, classic fan contributor. Him and Kyle get a shirt first whenever we get shirts. That's for sure. Another new interactor on Twitter, Anthony Alaman, Anthony_Alaman. Definitely, we appreciate you. Thanks for being part of the Baller Nation. And then our last one was at J Stay Jammin'. So stay jamming. Thanks for jamming with the Shotcallers. We appreciate you guys. Please keep it up. And send us any questions if you have any. We definitely appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we still got a little bit of a backlog actually on some of the questions, which we love because it gives us time to really give
Think
you guys
about it.
and give you guys a thorough answer as opposed to just kind of giving you a 30-second
Shotgunning
breakdown.
them, yeah.
Yeah, so keep them coming even if we would answer your questions before, the more the merrier. But let's jump into the question of the week, and that's gonna come from who's this question?
Cam Nova Chrono.
Cam Nova Chrono.
Yeah, one of the coolest
Cam
names I've heard in a
Nova
while.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're familiar with that name, what did you say? He's like an animated.
It's some anime. I don't know.
Anime?
Yeah, I love anime myself. I'm a nerd, but I don't know who Nova Chrono is.
Awesome. So his question is, as far as stats go, what's keeping another Carmelo question? What's keeping Carmelo off of a
If
team?
the fans like Carmelo, I
Fans
guess we'll
love
talk
Melo,
about it.
man.
So definitely, I think we should just do an ode to Carmelo. So he was particular in this question. He was specific. He said, as far as stats go. So I've gathered some.
Go ahead, JB.
So I think the biggest thing is just his efficiency. So, and just his overall usage kind of not being what he's used to is kind of taking him out of the game. So I think it's a little bit less tangible in the sense that if you look at his stats, his last year that he was with the Knicks, he made the All-Star game. His usage, the only places where I could really see a big fall off was his usage. And then, of course, the pace went up. So I could kind of, correlate that with the pace. In New York, it was a little bit more ISO, a little bit more him, posting up guys on the elbow. And, his utilization was obviously higher. He went from like a 28% usage rate to 22%. So obviously the ball's in his hands less. He's not going to get those points per game that he used to get when he was on the Knicks. And it wasn't a one-man show when he got to OKC. His usage went down. And then the pace was higher in both OKC and Houston. So I could see him maybe not being able to keep up with a little bit more fast break going on in those areas. But I think ultimately it's going to come down to utilization. He needs the ball in his hands. And then that's just what teams don't need. I mean, he had a 6% drop off in utilization just from New York to OKC, and it fell off even more when he got to Houston.
Right.
Some of the other tangibles, I mean, they were still pretty. I mean, there's going to be obviously a volume fall off because he's just not on the court as much. But his efficiency didn't really drop off in a lot of areas when it comes to like his assists or his boards. His overall boards did go down, but that's all I have. I think it's just his utilization. The ball has to be in his hands.
That's a really good point. Being warm is obviously part of what makes him feel good, I would think. Having the ball in his hands, feeling it, getting the shots up, and it kind of speaks to his 3-point percentage. He's only been above 40% one time in his career, and in the previous seasons, prior to the Houston and OKC seasons, at the end of New York, the end of his New York run, he was shooting 34%, 34%. 36% at the end of the New York tenure, and then just under 36% and down to 33%. So an average to slightly above average 3-point shooter, but not the heights where people want or teams want when you're not going to be the primary facilitator in the starting lineup, where it's going to be mainly catch and shoot threes from the corner, maybe from the wing, definitely second or third or fourth option. And so if you're not going to be lethal from there, along with all the other on the court, off the court kind of drama that you don't want, that's what I think is keeping him off the court. If he would have been shooting the lights out, he'd definitely be on a team right now, despite those things.
Yeah.
That combined with, he's a tall guy, not super athletic anymore compared to what he used to be. He can still get a shot up, still a great scorer. His rebounding numbers were always pretty good, getting around 6-7 rebounds a game. Most of them on the defensive side of the ball, some on offense. But with this game where their centers are going to be rebounding, and we have a lot of small lineups. Since he's not as good at rebounding as he used to be, not being as athletic, I don't think he's able to impact the game in that sense anymore, especially in the lineups that he's going to be playing with, no matter what team he's on. I think that's another reason where it doesn't seem to be a super big strength to put him out on the floor.
Yeah. Well, I think it's... Sorry, Andre, no, it's you. I think the reason I just keep going back to utilization being the thing, he needs the ball in his hand. He just ran so much ISO. If you looked at his usage rate, whenever he was in New York, it was post up like 34% of the time.
Right.
And when he went to OKC, that dropped off to the 20s. But you talk about his rebounding. One reason I always like to look at advanced stats because they tell a better story about it. His rebounding per game did go down, but if you look at it, actually his usage. And when you look at usage, it's basically telling you what percentage of the plays that he was involved in did he have assists in. Did he have a rebound in? And it actually went up. So he was actually rebounding. It went up a lot.
Yeah,
like
all those fuck out of here.
Yeah, like 8% of the plays he had in New York. And I used that last year in New York because he was an all-star. So we're not going to go back to fucking finals. I mean, Eastern Conference finals, Melo. You're not going to get that. Like, you can't ask that of anybody. Yeah, like, it don't matter who it is. They're not going to be as good as they were 5 years ago. Especially when you're at this age, you're on this side of 30. But he went from rebounding on 8% of the plays to rebounding on 18% of the plays in OKC. So, granted, he just wasn't on the floor as much. I feel like his minutes did go down. But so I think it ultimately just goes down to that. Like, get the ball. He has to have the ball in his hand, and that's unfortunate because we're not in a league anymore where you can do that. You have to have the wing guys. I mean, he could be the wing guy, but that's not what he wants to do.
But if he's playing on a team where there's small ball, he's going to be the fourth largest player on the team. Yeah. Or sorry, second largest player. He'll be playing the 4 is what I mean, next to the center. So you need some rebounding at that position.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. He is rebounding because he's involved. The results of the play is in the result of the play being him rebounding was higher in OKC than it was in New York. So even though the number was lower, I think it's just the amount of opportunities, and the fact that, like I said, the pace was faster. But also, I think it's just like Steven Adams being fucking really good at rebounding,
boxing out.
Exactly.
He's like Robin Lopez and Brook Lopez. Not super high rebounding numbers. Al Horford, another example, where they're tall, really great. Why do you only average 7 rebounds a game? Because they're boxing dudes out so that other people can get the rebound. Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, so that could contribute to him having a higher percentage.
Exactly. So it depends on where he goes.
Makes sense.
So
cool.
I think.
What did you want to add, Andre?
My point is, when he was younger, he specialized in turnaround, back down, mid-range shot, and now that he's not as efficient, and like JV said, he needs the ball to generate points. He doesn't really have anything he specializes in. Like the biggest thing he adds to a team right now is going to be the rebounding. But for a guy like that who's going to take up a spot on your team, you can get a player who can rebound, who could probably defend a little better than that, and probably contribute a little bit more to the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's funny to compare him to this player, but the best comparison was the guy that drove him out. He drove out. They didn't like each other, but Kristaps Porzingis.
I was going to say Jeremy Lin.
No, Kristaps Porzingis, right? Yeah. Because that is a big man. You play him at the 5. He's going to grab boards. People don't think he's a rim protector, but he averages like 2 blocks a game.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he can score from like anywhere.
Yeah.
So why have Carmelo when you have guys like Porzingis and Embiid, and I can go on
Every other.
Giannis and
Yeah. So like if his best attribute
even
is
Dwight Powell
shooting,
like,
I'm
serious.
No, right. If Carmelo Anthony's best option is shooting from the nail, the corner of the free throw line, isn't there another option on your team that does that better than what he does?
Yep.
Exactly.
So
Doesn't need as many shots and brings more
as
to
many
the game.
dribbles, yeah. And
Yep.
if you're gonna slide him out to the 3-point line shooting corner threes, if his percentage isn't great,
there's
don't you have another option for that too?
There's
Yeah.
better sharpshooters.
So,
Yep.
That's the answer, Cam Novachrono. But
Yeah.
let's hope that
Unfortunately, the stats don't tell the whole story, but I mean, ultimately, the guy just needs the ball in his hands.
you got to calculate the risk
Yeah.
based on the off the court stuff, but also the on the
Yeah,
court
because
stuff.
his efficient field goal percentage didn't go down. I mean,
Yeah, if he was
his
still
3-point
efficient, he'd still be a
like
threat.
you said, his 3-point percentage was still there. He was still grabbing rebounds at a high percentage. The only thing that dipped hard was utilization, and that's just the ball's not in your hand.
Well, that field goal percentage dropped, so
It just depends on what you specialize
Well,
in.
it did drop, but I
it
guess
dropped
that's-
like 10 points.
yeah. Well, you're talking about last year.
I looked at the last two. So
Oh, OKC.
between OKC.
Oh
as
shit!
Well,
Well, there you
yeah,
go.
so
When you can't
he's-
shoot and the ball's not in your hands.
Yeah, so it's like you don't really do anything. So
Yeah. Cool.
it's rough, but
Is that the only question we have for this week?
Yeah.
Cool. So we appreciate it again. That was Cam Shronova.
Cam Novachrono.
I just made up the whole hand. Cam Nova Chrono.
Yep.
Awesome. I'll remember that one, Cam. We appreciate the question. As always, if you guys would like to add your question to the list, send us a message to @Shotcallers Show on Twitter, _Shotcallers on Instagram. Send us an email to shotcallershow@gmail.com. You can also leave a comment in the video below if you're watching us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Or, as always, we appreciate, what we might appreciate the most is those podcast reviews.
Yes, please leave more on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate it. Stars.
I read that last one you said last week. It said, I can't
quit you. Yeah.
Can't quit you.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. If you want to leave a funny comment like that, we will more than be
Happily
happy to
shout you
shout it
out.
out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I did have another edition of Rich's Tidbits this week.
Oh,
I like
boy.
the energy on that one.
Yeah, it's a
You got
short
the spirit
one.
fingers going.
You
Yeah.
gotta put some cool effects.
You gotta
on
get the
for that
thumbs
one.
in there too. I was watching Bring It On and
Richard's
getting
Bits.
getting
Thumbs and
prepared.
fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a major like mind blowing one. It's a tidbit, and so I don't know if anybody ever thinks about this, but every day when you go to work or you go to, get something to eat, you're at a restaurant, you're there with like a bunch of other people, 40 other people, and you ever think about like
40.
Yeah,
You
at a
mean like
restaurant.
people
Yeah,
you don't know?
Yeah,
You don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like, damn, Rich. You're rolling
The
deep.
cafeteria.
You're rolling, you're rolling
people,
deep to
baby.
these
I have
restaurants.
a school bus everywhere I go.
Sorry, go ahead.
But you're like, man, everybody's here at the same time. We all traveled from wherever we were, our jobs, our school, whatever you got
Yeah.
going on, all to go there at the same time. Like you had to think back to like where everyone was throughout the day,
And they
just
it
to
all
lead to where
yeah.
you are right there. All these things led to where you are now.
Yeah.
And so I was doing some research on for the upcoming, season of shows or whatever, and I was looking at the Washington Wizards. And you go on Basketball Reference and you can see every kind of transaction with every player throughout their career. And so Moritz Wagner, a center for the Washington Wizards now, was recently part of a 3-team trade. What landed Anthony Davis in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Him, Mo Wagner, Mo Wagner,
Wagner.
Isaac Bonga, Jamario Jones, went to the Wizards. The Wizards supplemented some cash and a pick, I believe, or got a pick from the Lakers or the Pelicans. Anthony Davis went to LA. Blah 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 blah. And you go back through his rookie year. Wagner goes to the G League, goes to the LA roster. It doesn't really impress, but then you go back a little bit further, and I noticed that you can actually track back. So Wagner was the.
He played with somebody, didn't he?
No, well, that's not what I was gonna say. He was
Michael
a
Jordan.
late first round pick for the Lakers, but you can go back and trace the history of the pick.
Mm-hmm.
So as part of a 3-team trade, traded by the Cleveland Cavaliers as a future 2018 first round draft pick, he went to the Trailblazers in the Anderson Varejao trade.
Whoa.
And then after that happened, he got traded by the Blazers as a future 2018 first round pick back to the Cavaliers. And then
This shows you all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
so you
yeah,
just go
and
all the way
then-
back in time. It's like this
Yeah,
trade
exactly.
started in
Uh-huh.
1976.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get traded by the Cavaliers again with Channing Frye, Isaiah Thomas, and the Lakers to the Lakers for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr.
You remember
That when LeBron traded the team, or
Yeah, when he blew it
they
up.
look so different.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, to the Lakers. So thanks to LeBron, he's on the Lakers, and then LeBron brings in AD, and now he's on.
And he's off.
the
The
Wizards.
Wizards.
Yeah, the Capital Wizards. He'll be on the Capital Go-Go
So-
G League team.
LeBron is the reason he was going to the Lakers.
Yeah.
LeBron goes to the Lakers, and now is the reason that he's
Yeah,
going
exactly.
to the Wizards.
Thanks, LeBron.
Mr. Wagner.
This is just a puppet master, dog. He's just like got the whole. That's awesome though that the player can have. I mean, speaking of LeBron's like greatness last week, it's crazy that he can have an impact on so many people just with
So many
one
lives.
decision,
Yeah,
you know?
just
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Who does he think he is? That's awesome though. I'm gonna start messing with it.
Yeah,
Start
it's
going
cool.
back
See
and
how
back
ba-
and
how
back. It's
far
like a
picks
family
go, yeah.
tree.
yes, exactly. You can see the path of
Trace
everybody
my
like
roots.
ants. So yeah, that's the tidbit that I have. That was a pretty good one.
That's awesome, Rich.
That's
Pretty
all for
interesting,
riches,
yeah.
bitch.
If you're watching this on
You have to do
YouTube,
it
you
like
can see the
The spirit fingers.
Hold on. Okay,
Yeah,
anyway.
loosen those up.
Bring
And then
them
you go the
Yeah.
Woogie, 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 woogie.
Okay.
you remember that movie?
Yeah,
Come on,
wiggity,
don't be a
wiggity,
squid.
wiggity, Oh, rocket power. We're talking about rocket power on this week's episode of the Shot Callers, guys.
So that was this edition of Rich's Tidbits. If you have any ideas for Rich that you might
Got
want
any
him to
bits?
cover, send us a message.
Bring it
and
up.
He's usually the one that is the first to
Read those
to
tweets.
read those tweets. So we keep them coming. But that does it for this week, guys. As always, I'm your host JV.
Oh, well, shout us out again at shotcallershow
Show.
at
Oh, don't forget.
gmail.com.
Oh, okay. We're shout us out on Twitter at Shotcaller Show.
On Instagram, the _
Shot
shotcallers.
callers.
Twitter at shotcallers show.
Shot caller show.
The hashtag shotcallers show. Put your question in the review on Apple Podcasts. Just review us on Apple Podcasts. And most importantly, like, help us grow. If you think someone likes the show, just tell them. Go on their phone, subscribe.
Hijack their phone.
For
Yeah,
us,
just
yeah.
just put it in there.
Send them a link.
Send us out at all
Yeah.
at work. Who cares? Like,
Reply all with the
Reply
video
all.
link.
BCC everyone. Yeah.
I did that the other
If you if you send us in the corporate newsletter, chain mail to everyone, copy us and we will send you a shirt.
We'll
not
make sure.
spam.
We'll make sure you get a shirt.
But yeah, so I guess that's it for the housekeeping.
Yeah. Until next time, I'm your host JV.
This is Rich.
this is Andre.
Signing off. Catch y'all next time.